It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, where there are two sides to every story. Enjoy the broadcast. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. Happy Resurrection Day to you. Happy Resurrection Day to you, Kenneth. How are you?
Happy Easter. Happy Resurrection Day. Hey, family. How's everybody?
Awesome. Listen, I am so excited about tonight's broadcast because I'm sitting right alongside a native of Monroeville, and we're going to talk about Monroeville. Tonight is about the recap of Monroeville, and who better to do that with than someone from Monroeville? Listen, I want to welcome you. If you're watching from YouTube, please do me a favor. Since you're already there, subscribe to my channel. And if you're watching from Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever you're watching from, thank you. And please share the broadcast. Guys, I am excited about tonight's broadcast. It's Easter Sunday. We're going to finish this off. We're going to get our week started in a positive manner. Right, Kenneth? Are we excited about doing that?
Absolutely. We got to bring some healing to our family and friends down in the Monroeville community. So that's what we're here to do. Just love on you a little bit and just show you that, together we can all come together and fix this thing.
That's right. They say you can never truly go home again. But I believe that when your home is hurting, you don't just go back. You show up. And that's what we're trying to do tonight. I'm here tonight, not just a journalist, not just a talk show host. I'm here as a daughter of this red clay. Okay, see, other people don't know what that red clay is all about, but y'all do. I am a woman who walked the halls of MCHS, a proud member of the class of 88, and someone who carries the rhythm of Monroe County in my DNA. That's real talk, guys. Now, there is a unique kind of value in leaving home, okay? And that's what both Kenneth and I did. It gives you the perspective to see the gaps, and it gives you the strength to come back exactly when your community is in a season of need. Make no mistake about it. We are in that season right now. I think the lights can say amen right now. Okay. Amen. Tonight we have to move past the surface, though. We have to properly identify the issues because you cannot heal what you refuse to diagnose. Now, that's real. We're going to talk about the latest updates in the Bethel #2 drama and how the Bethlehem Association fits into a house divided. But we're also going to speak the name of a young man, Ammarin Tunstall. I want everyone right now, hashtag Ammarin Tunstall, whose life ended far too soon this week while in custody of those sworn to protect us. Now, if you are like me, if you are bothered, if you are shaken, which I know a lot of you are, and if you are flat out just heart sick after seeing that disturbing footage, then we cannot afford the luxury of silence. But we can't afford the luxury of being against each other either. When our community is in pain, getting along is not nearly as important as getting answers. We have to come together tonight to demand the transparency that every citizen of Monroeville deserves. It's heavy work. You already know what's ahead of us. It's good trouble work. But as we sit here on this Easter Sunday, today is Easter Sunday. Let's not forget that. Let's honor that. We remember the weight of this day. In our tradition, this is the ultimate story of light breaking through the darkest tomb. It's the proof that truth and life will always have the final say. Welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. And Kenneth, I am so excited that you are here tonight. What we got to do tonight is something very special. This is something that I believe in my spirit that God has commissioned us to do. And when you are joining me, you're joining me to help process all of this as someone knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? Because you are a native of Monroeville. So Absolutely. Say hi to everybody, Kenneth.
Hi, everybody. First I want to say, just send my condolences out to the entire Tunstall family. And Miss Sharon, we have you in our prayers. And, your son, even though I didn't know him personally, he's still my brother. And so we're going to do what we have to do to try to figure out this thing together. I know the video is showing one thing, but we got to get down to the truth. And if the police is willing to work with us to find out the actual truth, then we're going to make sure that you get some closure with this situation.
That's right. So I want you guys to get excited tonight. I'm going to bring your comments up. Y'all know how this goes. Those of you that have been here before, you know how we do it. We like to bring your comments here. We will try to address all of your comments. We may not get to them. Okay. So if you really want it addressed, copy and paste it in there again. Maybe we'll see it that time. But we got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. So what are we doing first, Kenneth?
So I feel like we can start with Bethel. That's one of the churches that I grew up going to. Even though my home church is Morning Star, but we would always go and participate with events and the choir and everybody over at Bethel. So I have a lot of love for a lot of people that go to the church and the community. So I feel like we can start with, do we feel like that the videos that are circulating right now is bringing clarity, or is it causing more harm to the community? And I feel like the public can then give us their input and tell us how they feel, and then we'll go from there. But I think you have the video, so if you have one of the videos and you want to show the public, then we can talk about it.
Yeah. So before we do that, though, guys, I want you guys to understand I went live last week and I did bring out Bethel and I talked about another video. Well, since last week, another one has surfaced on Facebook. Now, I just want to, for my disclaimer, say that yes, I did get permission from the owner of this video to bring it here to Facebook. And I want to make sure that people understand what's going on in the video. And I took some notes because I said, we gotta break this thing down so we can understand. But I think the best thing for me to do, let me just share the entire video and then we'll come back and talk about it. How does that sound? In the meantime, I want you guys to answer the poll. Are the circulating videos bringing clarity or causing harm? Number 1, it's bringing clarity. Number 2, it's causing harm, or 3, both. All right. So while you watch this video, I need you guys to click on that. This is very helpful for our research when you answer these questions. So I'm going to show that video right now. Wait a minute, guys. I got to bring that up again. You know why? My thing is in the way. You guys can't see it. So I want to I'm sorry about that. Let's move the poll out of the way. Let's put it somewhere else because I want to make sure you guys can see the video. So let's start that video over. But I need to bring the volume. Here we go.
Do we have sound?
There's no sound. I thought it was just me. Ugh. Oh, you know what? There it is. All right, let's start it over, guys. Here we go.
We gonna put Reverend Cunningham in his chair. Oh my goodness, look at this. Lord have mercy. mean, this is great. Pastor talking to him and he hit him in their face. Yeah, he did. No, he hit you. Yeah, he did. What you said? I seen him when he did. Look at me. He said to me. I think he's talking to me.
No, you can't. Not according to the topic. Missionary Baptist Church. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
We're not going to have conversation. We may be right, we may be wrong, we're not going to have conversation.
We're going to have. We're going to have. We're going to have. We're going to have.
I'm not going to argue with you.
I know you're not going to argue. Because you're going to get up here and hit somebody in the church.
It's on camera. I got it all.
What you going to do
Now, I'm suggesting to you that you I think we're going to step down. You know they already crashed out. Or you got I'll make a call. Don't worry about it. You stay right there. You stay right there.
Ain't nobody suspended. That's Southern Baptist. It's missionary Baptist.
No, that's my attorney. I don't want you talking to me. He's going to stop pushing into me. I'm not pushing you. My hands are not on this here.
Get your hands up. You're not talking to me. Keep peace. That's right. And we don't
It don't apply.
church and state, brother.
No.
Okay, I understand.
And you know that. You know that. The court rules. And whatever the court says.
You, sir, don't say nothing wrong.
You just go pay your bills, young lady. Deal with your IRS and your car note.
Jesus.
We have the legal son. Next week, they're going to give him what he asked for.
You're talking about somebody and you've been federally even bringing drugs. Nigga, please. You're bringing drugs to California. The feds been all up
This is what they did to Jesus. This is not what he died. This is what they did to Jesus. They bear from his witness, they brought him in, and then guess what? It's the same thing. Let's just go. What's the question? I know, but that's a question. You can sit down, you can stand down.
Okay. Oh.
Oh.
All right, guys. I want to. We got to explain the video now. Okay. For those of you that are watching this and you're just tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, I want you guys to know what we're talking about first. This is my home church, Bethel Baptist #2 in Monroeville, Alabama. You guys have seen these videos spreading all over social media. So I want to responsibly bring it here so that we could talk about it because it's out there and people are interpreting and guessing. So we might as well talk about it. Now, I verified the information with my source about this video, what was going on, because everybody sees it and everybody's like, well, I don't get it. Like, what am I looking at? So what I want to do is I want to take you back. Now, I want you guys to understand, I started the video by bringing you into the church. You see that you have people that are showing up for church. They're coming. And then as soon as the guest minister, which is his name is Reverend Rick Hensley out of Mobile, Alabama, was the guest minister that day because Ewell is allegedly suspended, was in the paper. So I'm not saying anything someone told me, was in the paper. He is currently suspended from preaching at Bethel. So he didn't want to accept that. So this new minister was there that day. He had been asked. This was like the third time he's been to Bethel. The first two times this same thing happened, except this time we got it on video. Apparently this has happened at Bethel before where this same minister came And, you know, he was told, listen, get out of here. We're preaching, and you will preach. And that's what was done. This time we had a different scenario. So now they're here, and the commotion is starting at the pulpit. Now, if you look at this part, this is the part where you see that they wanted Ewell to get in his seat, but the guy that got in his seat instead was Les Stallworth. That is the attorney that I was telling you guys about last week. Les Stallworth sat in the place of where Ewell was trying to sit, simply because Ewell came there to preach, because he wanted to do what he's been doing all along. So that's what all of this commotion is about. You got everybody here walking around, and everybody's filming. Guys, you see, what do you hear going on? They're actually having the church service. You see the deacons, they're down there. They're trying to, the purpose of them down there is to, hopefully people don't see what's going on behind them. But now you're going to see in the video, people are going to start walking up, taking video of what's going on in the church. So they're carrying on with their service. They're still having devotion. People are still coming into the sanctuary, and all of this is going on in the pulpit. Now, the reason I needed to do this video was because last week we got so caught up in the chair. Who was sitting in the pastor's chair? Okay, well, you see here that Les Stallworth was sitting in the chair, but I wanted to bring context to that. He was sitting in there because he was trying to prove a point. You have been ordered by the court, sir. It's a court-ordered thing. You cannot preach, so you're not preaching today. So now you got this battle. Ewell wants to preach. Some of the members of the church want him to preach, and you have people that are trying to abide by what the law said. So that's what you see going on here in this video. So you'll see as you keep going, this guy here, that's Reverend Horn, that's standing there and talking to them. And you see the man all the way to the right there. He is the guest minister. He didn't even sit in the pastor's chair, because to him it's customary not to do that, because he wanted to make sure that he respects the leader of the house. You know, that's like common in Baptist churches. They don't have that guy sit in the chair. I don't know why we have so much. I don't know why it's so sacred about the chair when we're carrying on this kind of foolishness. I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but it's the truth. Too late. So now we're here, and everybody's still trying to get him out of the chair so we can carry on with the service. And then you saw later on where this is Horace Lamar, who's in the uniform. He is trying to speak to Mr. Stallworth about what's going on. Hey, look, let's forget about this. Let's have service. Stop this interruption, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll see that that Mr. Jones comes up to him and says, hey, sir, we're not doing that today. This is not what this conversation is about today. I'll call your superiors if I need to. That type of thing. Because he's not supposed to be in the church, allegedly, in a uniform, acting in that position, because he's not playing that role at the time. So then you have a lot of this commotion still going on. They're still talking. Guys, he's suspended. He's not supposed to be preaching. And so all of this video keeps going on. And you saw this at the end where another member from the church comes over, speaks to Ewell, and y'all saw the rest. And there was a commotion between Les Stallworth and Mrs. Coleman, where he was saying, she went to say something to him, and then his response was, go pay your bills. And then she talks about something with drugs. Okay. All over Facebook. Now you guys see it from beginning to end. You see what was going on in this video. Your thoughts, Kenneth?
I just thought that, you know, for him saying that to Ms. Hale, that was out of order. That was disrespectful. And I feel like that whole situation is like you're antagonizing a monster. And, you know, and sometimes the monster will bite back, and I don't think it needs to get to that point. So I think that we could all agree that nobody is above accountability. And, you know, and no matter what the position is. And we don't even know, like, who made the decision to suspend the pastor? Was it the newly formed members of the church that got into some new positions, or did the court do it?
Well, I can answer that because that was one of the things that we are going to address tonight. From my research, I learned that in the paper, one of the orders was that once these newly elected deacons get into place, this is all in the paper, that they would then be able to decide the fate of the pastor, if they want to suspend him, whatever the case may be. Now, I'm going to get into that because I did get a call last week. I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I'm going to answer that question later on. Okay. So that's what's going on in the video. What do you think about in this day and age, Kenneth? Like, Bethel is a church.
Yes.
There was a young lady there that was also there last week. Now, another thing I didn't say is that when the minister actually got up to preach, there were heckling going on in the audience. No, no, no. They didn't want him to preach. So it got so out of hand that they had to actually cancel the service. Okay. They had to actually cancel the service. And I'll give you guys this news today. Bethel, the mayor pro tem, Al Bruton, sent a letter to the referee and to the judge. What about Ella? I'm glad you asked. Requesting that Bethel, they can't have services right now. Something bad is going to happen there. We need to shut it down. I'm afraid that this may get too out of hand. So guess what? On Wednesday, Bible study was canceled, and so was today. What I learned is that services are canceled until further notice. Now you tell me, was all that worth it? Because what I see is everybody is responsible. Everybody in the video is responsible for what happened in this video. Yeah. Everybody is responsible.
It's two sides. So there's, everybody has their side. It's almost like when you're dealing with politics in anything, somebody thinks that they're right and somebody's always think that the other side is wrong. But I know that there are leaders in Monroeville that could come together and bring all of these preachers together to then sit down and hash this situation out. Because what the public is seeing with what's going on at Bethel, that never should have happened. Never should have happened. And all of us seeing the disrespectful things that people are saying to, just women of our community that I grew up knowing and loving, that was just is wrong. And for me to be way over here on the other side of the country and seeing this stuff, man, I was just like, this is crazy. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. If the pastor is suspended, whether you agree with it or not, I'm just asking a question. And I want to ask you guys as well. I want y'all's input as well. The pastor is suspended. Is it better to fix that first so you don't have this kind of disruption? Because this disruption is there. This disruption was because they wanted Pastor Ewell Cunningham to preach when he is suspended. Do we fix the suspension first and then let's come back and do things in order? Or are we just going to keep wilding it out because you want to preach? Like, what's wrong with waiting till you fix it? If you don't agree with what happened, and we're going to talk about that too, how it happened. But if you don't agree with what happened, is this the best way to handle it, Kenneth? That's what I'm asking.
But you have to think about, like, who suspended him. Did the court suspend him or did the members suspend him? But if you have a bunch of members that don't like him and they want him out, it's almost like being in an abusive relationship. If you don't want to go somewhere where you're not wanted, and if the majority of the members said, hey, we want you out, then you got to bow out gracefully and go on to the next thing. But then if there was just a certain group of members that is now the majority, and they decide to make the decision to kick him out, then of course that's why he's fighting back, because he don't feel like he's done anything wrong. Do you agree?
So so here's the thing. If that were the case, I would agree. But here's what I learned. The court said when these newly elected deacons come on board, they can decide. They can have a vote and they can do whatever. Because now we got your new elected officials in there. Y'all didn't do it right the first time. We had an election. These are your 15 deacons and your 15 trustees. There you go. Now, what I learned is that they didn't just send 15 deacons a text message to vote. They sent it also to trustees, because from what I understand from the deacon board, they said, listen, we wanted this to be fair across the board, and we want everybody to be involved in this vote. I confirmed today that a text message was sent to all of those people. Every single person knew when to show up, what the deal was. And out of those 30, there were 17 that basically was involved in that vote. 15 that said suspend. one that said do not suspend, and one that sustained from voting, just so they cannot look like I'm trying to be, one-sided or whatever. I don't even want to vote in this. And so that is why you hear, I think the paper said 15-1, and that's why. Because I know everyone was like, wait a minute, the numbers don't add up. The reason it was 15-1 is because trustees and deacons were invited, not just deacons. Okay? So there was a vote, Kenneth, is what I'm saying. There was a vote, and they voted to have him suspended. It doesn't mean Ewell is out. Pastor Ewell has not lost his position as pastor of Bethel. Let me say that very clearly. He has not lost that position. They have not taken that because they can't decide that. Okay, that is something that the congregation has to decide, whether to just get rid of him completely. This is just a suspension. Okay, so I want to make that very clear. What do you guys think? I see that we got some poll results here. 100% both. The circulating videos bringing clarity or causing harm. People say that it's doing both. It's bringing clarity, but it's also causing harm. What harm do you think it's causing, Kenneth?
Well, I mean, it's clearly a divide amongst the members. And, and I remember like even just seeing the church and how empty it was just on the video. Bethel didn't used to look like that. That was the church that, everybody would know, they would always go to and have a good time. And so I feel like, even the youth coming up. And so what disturbed me most about last week's show was the young lady, one of my classmates' daughters that went there to perform and was so disrespected for no reason. And that's something that she has to live with for like pretty much for the rest of her life, knowing that happened to her. And so that was just one of those things where I feel like at all times we got to protect our youth. And for her being there, seeing that, it just left a bad taste in my mouth about the whole situation. And I hope Bethel can fix this because I know they can. They just got to get the right leaders in leadership positions to just sit down. And if the pastor did something so bad where it warranted a suspension and not favoritism towards a suspension, then that's different. Because you can have a group of people that's a clique, and then they can all get together and then say, hey, we want this person out and we'll do everything that we need to do to get him out of here. But then at the end of the day, you're seeing the results of those actions, all those things that happened with the window and all, it didn't have to happen. And that's an expense that the church then had to pay. So
I think that one of the things that is troubling here is that people don't know the reason for the suspension. And I'm not going to discuss that because I'm not at liberty to discuss that yet. I mean, I have rumblings and I don't like coming here with rumblings. I need the whole rumble. So that's probably going to bring clarity if people understand, okay, why are you looking to suspend him? Why did 15 people vote to suspend him at this time?
Because it leaves it open for everybody to assume. And you know what they say about assuming.
Where do you think that should come from? Where should that come from?
The church has to sit down. I think they should definitely have a meeting in house and talk about what's going on, because all the videos that are made public, for whatever reason, they were made public for a reason, for the public to get involved, because it's something that they can fix in their own house. So I feel, and now you're getting all these opinions of people that don't really know what's going on. They're just trying to put pieces together. And so, and as a result, this is the chatter that you're getting in the comments.
So I have Kelvin says the new elected deacons that don't like him vote to suspend. Well, I mean, here's the thing.
It looks.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. There was an election.
Yeah.
Okay. The election was public. The election had to be done over simply because the judge was privy to the information from Bethel. The judge didn't come to Bethel. Bethel came to the judge and complained about something. And now this opened up this can of worms. So when they looked into Bethel's bylaws, that's when they realized, wait a minute, you guys didn't do this thing the right way. It's outlined in your bylaws. How you just kicking people out? It doesn't work like that. Okay. So there was a reason for this election, and it's because it wasn't done the right way. So now that there was an election, and we talked about it last week, let me just go ahead and just bring that out, because after the show last week, let me just say this. After the show last week, I got a call from a couple of people at Bethel. Okay. And there was one of those people who was very favorable to Yule. And I like to be very neutral in this. So their concerns are just as important to me as any other concerns that come to me. So that's what I'm trying to address tonight. One of the questions they had was, Ella, the election was not even right. That's why I'm addressing this now, because of Kelvin's comment. The election wasn't done right. It was only Bobby's people that voted, and it just wasn't done right. Okay, let me clarify now again about the election. And I had to get this reconfirmed to the person that called me. Of course, I'm not going to call your name. I'm not going to do that. I honor you, and I want to make sure that I'm answering everybody's questions. So you asked me the question, so I had to go look for the answer. So what I found was a little more clarification about this election. What happened is the court, guys, I want y'all to understand, there is a court hearing. There's litigation going on. This isn't something they're making up at Bethel. They're being ordered to do this now, because once it got to the court, now the court is saying we get to do whatever we need to do. Okay, you guys brought it to us. Now you got to follow our rules. So the court is the one that said new election. The court is the one that said, I want the list from the CPA. The court said, I don't want it from either party. I don't want it from the Bobby Jones side. I don't want it from the Yule side. I'm just saying that now just for clarity here, not because that's who leads those sides, but I'm just saying they don't want it from either one of them. I wanted to come from your CPA. Why? Because your bylaw said that your people that can vote is based on who has paid. That is an issue you guys, I think, are having, but you can't have it with Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones, Yule Cunningham, neither one of these guys made up these are your bylaws. If you're not familiar with their bylaws at your church, that's on you. But this is where they are. So the judge was following what you have in writing. So the judge says, I want the people that can vote are going to be the people who have paid their tithes, not attended, not are faithful, not have been there 50 years. That is not your bylaws condition for an active member. Your condition, people who have paid their tithes and have paid a certain amount. So we'll get that from the CPA. Right.
Well, that's kind of moving the goalposts. It's almost like, okay, because everybody that goes to the church doesn't have, I don't know what their bylaws say that the amount of money should be per year, but you're like moving the goalposts, and then you're disenfranchising a whole bunch of people who still has a say so, and they may not be able to afford what other people can afford. So it's not fair. So it's like it's one-sided when it comes to this particular situation. It's like almost like you got the haves and you got the have-nots, and the have-not has no say at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I brought this. Thank God I still had this from last week.
Yeah.
Still in my show here. This is who's active and who's inactive at Bethel. This is the criteria. For people that are, for adults, you have to pay $50 a month, at least $600 a year. Okay. If you are living out of town and you're an adult, you have to pay at least $300 a year. If you are up to 25 years old, I think that's like $25 a year or something like that. I may not have my numbers right. Okay. So these are the bylaws. And we talked about that last week. So I want to finish, because what they said is, the CPA turns over that list. Now the CPA, Kenneth, doesn't know who's a member. They just know who's paid. Because not all people that are members pay. So when that list came, this is probably a part y'all don't understand. When that list was turned over to the court said, okay, both sides, I want y'all to look at this list. If you need to add anybody, or if you need to purge people from this list, do it now. Because once we look at this and it's finalized, this is who votes. That's on y'all. Court don't have anything to do with that. So guess what happened? Both sides are looking at this list. Did Yule's side add anybody? Did they take anybody away? Did Bobby's side add anybody? Did they take anybody away? Because if they did or did not, that was their responsibility. Okay? So if you weren't on the list, you have an issue with the people that controlled it. Those people controlled that list, turned it over to the courts. Those people got a letter. I don't know how any other way to explain this one, because there's so much talk. This is what people are not able to get past. they think that the election was done incorrectly. Kenneth.
Yeah, and then
I
you
had
got
to explain all that. Yeah.
but then you have to think about too, when was the bylaws put into place? You know, was it in the 80s? Was it in the 90s? Was it in the early 2000s? You know, was it done last week? You know, because I feel like that's pretty interesting to have that amount of money so high, you know, for someone to be able to vote. Because it's like you can just go down the list, and if everybody doesn't check all the boxes off, they eliminate it. And so then you might get down to 10 people, and 10 people are making the decision for a whole church. And that's not fair. I
But then
don't think it's fair.
so
Yeah.
then who should be fighting about that? The people that are fighting against this situation, who don't agree with it, they should be in there fighting with their church.
It
Yes.
should be the church as a whole, because you know 5 people don't make the decision for everybody, no matter if they black, white,
Unless
polka
it's
dot,
set
or
up
stripe.
that way.
You know,
But what if
yeah.
it's set up that way though, Kenneth? What if the
I mean,
bylaws say so?
yeah, but the bylaws can be rewritten, and they could be rewritten correctly to the point where everybody can participate. Because that's why it's like the same thing that happened during the civil rights movement. You know, they kept moving the goalposts, and then everybody, you know, didn't get the opportunity to speak their voice. And now look where we are. You know, it's the same type of situation, but I'm sure that the situation going on at Bethel can be fixed if the leaders of the
Of course.
community come together, rally around. Because I've known Pastor Cunningham for a really long time, and I've never known him to be somebody that was problematic. You know, it was always positive. The family was always so great. So, you know, I don't feel like, you know, for him even being suspended and being muffled to speak the word that's inside of him, that's just not right. And for to see the young man sitting in the pastor's chair, you got to respect the position. No matter what that is, you got to respect the position that he was given. And he's been doing it for so long that, you know, and then to be disrespectful to the young lady for no reason, you know, that was just uncalled for. And I just feel like that the members and the men of the church should have stood up for her and fixed that right away.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to look at this comment. Vicky says, I believe everyone in the congregation are aware why the pastor is suspended, and many outsiders are as well. See, here's where the rubber meets the road. It's when you don't know, Kenneth.
Yeah.
When you don't know, when I don't know.
Yeah.
I can only just know some things, okay? There's so much rumblings out. That's why I'm not going to talk about stuff that people have told me unless it's been proven. I don't want to do that because that's not fair to Pastor Ewell either. Yeah. But he knows. Okay. So Vicky says, I believe everyone in the congregation, they're aware why he's suspended. And at this point, the pastor should have a sit down with his congregation and address the behaviors or concerns described. I agree. I definitely agree. Pastor Cunningham, please. Okay. Pamela says he has discussed it with them and he apologized. So he did he apologize to the congregation? Pamela, just for clarity, did he apologize to the congregation or a select few? And if he apologized, then how do you get these elected deacons to vote not to suspend him? This is where it's like, okay, Kenneth, you have 15 deacons, 15 trustees. Who is in the majority? That's who wins. That's just how the law works. That's how it works.
Correct.
And if you're not in the majority, you're going to lose. That's why the Democrats are losing right now, right? Because
That's
they're
correct.
not in the majority.
Yeah.
So why is the church different? If the majority are people that are not in favor of Pastor Ewell, why is it then, should it say, okay, well, we're going to change how the vote is done because we know you guys aren't going to vote for him? Or do you wait it out, try to convince these people to vote for you, or should you really be, suspended? I mean, it's one of those things where I don't care what we just saw was wrong and it should not have happened. Someone should have been the bigger person. Who should it have been, Kenneth? Who should have been the one to say, you know what, this is crazy. We got people showing up here today because I didn't see Ewell do anything in the video. I didn't see him try to calm anything.
Well, it seemed like that he was following the orders.
He was following.
the
That's
orders.
part
And
of the
so
problem.
that's a big difference. But then with everybody else being hostile, you can't just limit. Bethel's community is a lot larger than 15 people or 17 people, and I feel like if all of the members got together, if they want to take back their church, they're going to have to come together and take back their church, because other than that, the youth are watching, and then they're going to end up losing everybody. And then what happens if nobody comes to the church, nobody's giving money to the church, then what happens? It closes.
That's right. Now, Della
So
says they have to change the bylaws. That's all I'm saying.
they have to change
You
the
can't
bylaws for
just
sure.
go all wilding out just because you don't like it. You
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There's no order in that. You have to
Yeah.
change it, come together. Who knows how long those bylaws have been sitting there,
Right.
and they've never changed it in all these years.
Well, because if
Okay?
you look at it, it looks like it was
Yeah.
done like in the early 80s or,
Yeah,
90s or
right.
something. And
It's
so,
like 83 or something.
yeah,
83, 84 or
yeah.
something like that.
So,
So guys, that's one thing we've learned tonight. If you don't like what's going on, then change the bylaws so that it's not that way. Because I personally don't think, this is my opinion, I don't think that in good standing should just be about tithes. I really don't think that's good.
yep.
I don't think that's a good thing. Because what if somebody can't tithe? What if they just don't have it?
Yeah.
Now my voice don't matter because I don't have any money. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's not for me to say. What I have to uphold is what's in place now. And that's the same thing the judge did. And we don't like that. And that's part of our problem, us as a people. We don't get involved until something like this happens. Then we got to go back and realize, well, wait a minute. It all kind of comes back on us. Exactly. We are the one that control the bylaws, so change it.
Yeah, like the judge didn't make a decision on the whole situation, so he sent it back to the church because he felt like that it looks crazy, when you really look at it on paper. It's just this is such an easy fix, and just because you got so angry at somebody, don't mean you have to shut their whole life and livelihood down. Sit down and talk about the problem. If he feel like he was in a position where he did something extremely wrong, then pretty much I'm sure that if he did something that bad, he would just bow out gracefully and then let the next person come in and take the church to where it needs. Because it's not about the person, it's about the church at the end of the day. And you need to, bring the church back together.
Well, I'm gonna share with you guys a letter because there was a letter written because Bethel, back in August of last year, the deacon board of Bethel sent a letter. I'm going to show you guys this letter. This is the letter. They sent this letter to the Bethlehem Association, because the Bethlehem Association is the one that kind of oversees Bethel and whatever its issues are or whatever. And they sent this letter, and in this letter, you see all those bullet points. These are the things that they want to address about what they feel is going on wrong at Bethel. This came from the deacon board. Now, what I understand, I want you guys to see this, because I like to be transparent here, because one of the conversations that I had last week with a member that was really more leaning toward Ewell and saying that, listen, he apologized. Like, come on, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Why can't they just forgive him? Let's move on and just move forward. And I said, well, and they said, and another thing, Ella, he did apologize. I said, okay, that's great. And nothing, that's it. He apologized. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. Well, what about all the other issues? We're just going to not address everything. Because see, me as a member, and I got to vote, I'm remembering the video. I'm remembering all the character and integrity that I didn't see. I am. Because I'm not going to just pick a leader just because they've been there 50 years. I don't care if you've been there 100 years. Things need to change. And I'm not saying they need to change with Ewell being at the lead. I'm not saying that. He could regain his position. But I'm just saying we got to have some kind of standard. And what I saw on the video, that is not a standard of God. That is not a godly standard. This is not personal. You got people. See, the reason I'm so pissed about it, Kenneth, is because you got people showing up and they're watching this mess. They're filming it. Everybody has their camera out. This is like Real Housewives kind of stuff to them. There's nobody taking this seriously. Someone in that congregation, because I didn't see anybody do it. Someone should have said, guys, let's stop this. Okay, everybody, hey, all of y'all go sit down. Let's let the man preach. And then when the man gets up to preach, we heckle him, making these noise. No, no, no. And then the young lady, they go and do the same to her. Get out of here. I don't know why they invited you here. You're going to tell me? No, I saw more than just some woman being messed with. I saw souls being messed with. And that's what I'm looking for. I don't care about them. You start something and you got some mess going, then it's going to come back at you. That's worldly stuff. I'm talking about, is this the godly standard that we want to uphold? No, I don't think it is. I don't think
because I feel like just trying to destroy the house just to prove a point, like where the people going to worship, at the end of the day.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
At the end of the day, like where are people going to go? So
here, I want to blow this up so you guys can see a little bit of this, because I really want to be transparent tonight, because we are not going to cover this topic until there's something else that happens in the courts. So we might as well get it out of the way tonight. This is what the letter looks like. This is what the deacon board sent to Reverend Dr. Otis Dion Culliver, who's the president of the Southwest District. Okay. And they're telling him that the purpose of this letter is to seek wisdom and guidance from you as president of the Southwest District of the Alabama State Missionary Baptist Convention. We have attempted, but have been unsuccessful in resolving many complex problems under the leadership of Reverend Dr. Ewell Cunningham. This is what they sent. Okay. Ella didn't send this. I am just reporting it. Don't shoot the messenger. So here's the other part of it. In lieu of the fact, oh my gosh, I got to move this pole out the way. All these things are just in the way. Okay. In lieu of the fact that Reverend Cunningham serves as the moderator for our district, we feel it necessary and proper to reach out to the next level, which is requesting your assistance, since you are the president of the Southwest District, blah, blah, blah. In spite of the continued discord towards the deacon board and Bethel Church, the deacon board continues to strive towards our spiritual commitment, our members, our church, our community. We are concerned about the division of our church. Okay, below are some of the problems. So what do we think about this? There looks to be, because we want to talk about the efforts here. We want to talk about the efforts that are being put in place to resolve this. That's an effort. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I just feel like, for some people, they feel like being right, and for us, it doesn't mean anything, if we lose the community in the process. And so it's just like, I know that the letter states one thing and so they're asking for a mediator to come in to help. But we have plenty of people in Monroeville who can mediate and fix this whole situation. There are so many pastors that work in other churches, that can sit these people down and just say, hey, what is going on here, and fix it.
But what is the order, though? Do you just bring everybody into the church business? Do you bring a psychiatrist? Do you bring the person that's over it? There has to be a chain of command, I'm sure.
Well, the world is involved now, so everybody got an opinion, and pretty much had the videos not been made public, then we wouldn't have known nothing that was happening inside of the house. But we all know, we can clearly see with our own eyes that something is really, really wrong. And I feel really bad for the members of the church having to go, through this. But, if they all come together, I feel like that they really can fix it.
Well, I will say this in Reverend Culliver's defense, just making sure we report everything. Yeah. He can't, according to the sources, he cannot get involved unless Ewell agrees to have him to come there and reside and be involved in his church. That's just like inviting somebody to come to your police force to help you with cases that you're not solving. Yeah. And I guess that the order of things, and I don't know because I don't have the bylaws for the district. I guess the order of things is that Ewell has to say, okay. But I mean, think about it. If the letter is about Ewell, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Right. If the letter is about him and complaining about him, do you think he's going to want to invite someone in to see what's really going on? I look at the video. I look at how people are getting out of hand and how they're manning up and talking to people. I'm sorry. Who is the head there? Who is the person? Because I'm asking you this one, Kenneth. Who is the person that you think, aside from how you feel, this is just real, who do you think should be the one to say, okay, guys, let's get this stuff under control. This is out of hand. Let's reel it in now. Yeah, I understand. I appreciate your loyalty, but this is out of order. Who should do that?
I don't know who's the head of the leadership there, but normally the person in any house, the person who has the keys, is the one that normally makes the decision. But if the pastor is suspended, whoever's next in command, is the one that should then bring everybody together. Because
well, then if you want to preach, then you're assuming you're the head. So you can't have it both ways. If you want to be the head, then act like the head. Do it, and don't just do it so you can be in front of a pulpit.
Right.
Lead the people if you want to be the head.
Correct. Yeah, okay. I agree 100%.
Della just said it. The pastor is the head. Exactly.
Yeah.
And he was silent.
And you got to respect the position. He's been in that position for a really, really long time. And, and with anybody, you're going to have people that like you and people that don't like you. And,
and as a leader, I know what to do. As a leader, I know what to do when that happens.
Right. And you know how to convince people, and that's the thing. If you're a good salesperson, you can convince a whole lot of people to hate you. So, and it's just one of those things where we as a community from the outside looking in, we want to help the community at Bethel. We know and love people, and we don't want to see our people hurting. And, and other people on the outside looking in, they're just laughing at this whole situation, and that shouldn't be,
He says they have to change the bylaws in their hearts. Too much hell in the place of God. No one willing to be accountable. That's what I see. Nobody being willing to be accountable. Vicky says, can you see the response from Pam? Where is the response from Pam? Let me go back up and see the response from Pam. Okay, here she goes. Is this the one? She says, I don't know. People just not knowing all the information. Also, the new deacons shouldn't be deacons yet because they haven't been ordained. They have to go through an installation process. It hasn't been done yet.
Bingo. Pam, okay. She's right. 100%.
Okay. So now what? What do y'all do then? Because this is I see all of this, and if this is all true, is it still? Because it almost sounds like we want to okay this behavior that we saw in the video because of this.
Well, it's entertainment. It's like watching a reality show that people don't get a chance to see on television.
But what I'm saying is, prior to the judge doing what she did, they had moved people out of their positions. Was that the right way to do it? I'm just saying.
Well, it depends on their position and what they were doing. If they were doing something, if they didn't agree with the majority, then of course they was going to push them out the way. So then
I'm just saying, if we know that the bylaws say, Kenneth, that there has to be an election before we can move people out of their office, is it then okay? Well, I'm going to call a vote, and I just want to remove people out of their position. Is that proper? Is that in order? That's not in order.
That's not in order.
Okay, so now when this happens, now we want to talk about stuff not being in order. It's never been in order, if you ask me. It wasn't in order before the judge, and it sounds like it's still not in order based on what Pam is saying.
So power plays.
So then who needs to make the decision so it can be right?
Well, I mean, Pastor Cunningham just need to let the district come in. And, and I feel like that he can put his pride to the side and let them come in to do what they need to do, sort out the situation, and then get things back on track.
And then if he isn't, what does that mean?
So, I mean, then you're complicit in the situation. You want to keep up the mess,
That's all I'm saying. So I'm calling on the leadership because, listen, if Pastor Ewell Cunningham is who the majority of the people in Bethel want to be their pastor, he should be the pastor.
Yeah.
Do we all agree on that? Yes.
Yeah.
If that's what it's going to take. But here's the thing. To be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. And Absolutely. If you were told certain things to do and you're not holding them accountable to it, then you're no different than they are. How can I respect you when you're just allowing all this stuff to go on?
Yeah. It's like you're burning the house down from inside,
That's what I'm saying. And I'm like, come on. If you want to be a leader and get up there and preach, then be a leader and lead people that are acting wild and out. You can't be a leader sometimes
Right.
It's not something you can do when you want to be. It's not a Chex Mix moment. Y'all know how we have Chex Mix? Well, I like this one. Well, I don't like those. And those are the last ones we eat, Kenneth. No,
Right.
you can't handle the body of Christ like that. If you're going to be the leader, then be the leader 24/7. When you see people that you like, that voted for you wilding out and being out of order, you need to be able to check them just as much as you do anybody else. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And I think that's only fair. Vicky, he has done that. Okay. All right. So let me get down here because I want to get to a lot of these comments. Pamela says, yes, the ones that were there. Okay. I'm not sure what that is, Pam. You might have to tell me again, dear. The pastor is the head. Okay. All right. So I've done all that. So let me go back down here. I see you, Net. She said, walk away. What do you mean by that, Aldrina? Walk away. Della, she's a long comment here. I want to read it. She says, they need to make it possible for the bylaws to be changed. That's what you were saying, Kenneth.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to change these bylaws. If everyone wants to be fair, the voted in trustees and deacons should be open to voting on something that allows them to have more people join in and vote to have the bylaws read the way the more people want. Because if only those in good standing can vote, then you are back to square one. Ding, 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 ding.
Yep. That's my cousin. Absolutely.
How to change the bylaws should be written in the church's operating agreement. Okay, that's a good idea. Kim saying if there is a way to change it, it's going to be outlined in the bylaws. So it sounds to me like you guys should be calling a meeting. Go to your deacons and say, look, we need to call a meeting to understand the church's bylaws.
With the whole church. Not
the
just
whole
a few.
church.
The whole church.
Everybody.
You know, no matter where they are in their position. If they black, white, polka dot, or the stripe. Right.
If they haven't paid but $1, right, Kenneth?
We
need to bring everybody in.
Yeah, because that dollar contributed to keep the lights on.
It did. It contributed. And if y'all are paying tithes, the lights will be off. Come on, somebody.
Yep.
The moderator usually assists the deacon board and the congregation. Since Pastor Cunningham is the moderator, did Reverend Culliver respond or visit the church? Okay, that's a good question. Here's what I also have. I was going to get to that, but Patricia, you're just too fast for me, girl. You're just too fast for me. Here's what I got. These letters were sent, and they were all returned. 3 letters, from what I understand, went out, and they were all returned. Now, Pastor Culliver is not here to answer. I am not going to comment on that. Why were they returned? Was the address incorrect? Did you not receive them because you just didn't want to hear it? Like, I don't want to say that because that's not my place. He's not here to respond. So I'm not going to answer that. I am just telling you, this is what I see, that those letters were sent certified. This was back August and September when this happened last year, guys. So that is something that I think should be addressed. That should be addressed. If we got the person that can fix it, why aren't we reaching to him? Because if you have a choice and you're choosing mess, then I'm out. I'm out. Because I know as a leader, we can do better than that. I don't care what nobody say to me. You are not going to put the blame on somebody else in the video when I got the one who wants to be the leader sitting there and letting it happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to call him out, but you want to be you more worried is about sitting in the seat. Sitting in the seat. You guys are fighting over who's sitting in the seat. Then these people that are out here wanting the word of God, and y'all just forgetting about them. Y'all got your own little thing going on in the pulpit, but you want to preach to me about being sacred and that you want to be the leader. He should be the leader. Then leaders stand up and they step up. And he did not do that in that video. I'm sorry. I expected more. I want to see him like, guys, come on. I'll go over here and sit. Just let the man preach. Don't disrespect the man of God. He's also a man of God. And he came from Monroeville to preach. Come on. But now you want to give me the order, law, decent, and an order speech? No, I can't hear that. Please know that wrong only lasts for a season. That's right. I pray love will prevail. I hate this so bad. I don't even use the word hate. Bobby Jones has the keys. Bobby Jones has the keys. Okay. I'm sorry. What does that mean?
Well, normally the person with the keys has the deed too. So is that
What does that have to do about leadership? We were talking about leadership. Should the person with the keys get up there and preach too? Should the person with the keys Oh, I mean, what I'm trying to understand the relevance in him having the keys. Latanya says, Ella, you're so biased. No, Latanya, I am not. Listen, I am telling, if you, was that a letter that was just written? I am bringing the stuff that I'm talking about. I'm bringing it to the screen. Any of this information, I am not on nobody's side, but I am not the kind of person that's going to look at a video and forget about what I saw and just say, oh, but Cunningham's been there 50 years. So he can just act like that. So he can just, is he grooming other ministers coming under him to act like that? People are watching. I am not biased. I'm talking about what I see. I'm not talking about what I am coming here to talk about what someone that's on Yule's side came to me. I'm bringing that stuff. So if you guys don't like the answers I'm getting, the next thing is go find them. Go find those answers. If you think that I am talking to someone that's being biased, go look at the paper, because that's where I got a lot of it. I wish you could listen to the videos that I have that I don't show here. I wish you could see that. I wish you could hear the testimonies of people that have been harmed by people in Bethel. See, I don't have that to bring, and I won't bring that because that's not what this is about. So when someone says that I'm being biased, I'm sorry you feel that way. But what I am bringing to you is what you guys have also seen. If you guys don't believe me, call the court and ask them, where did they get the voter list? Call the courts and ask them, because they said it in the paper. They came from the CNA. I didn't make that up. The CPA. They're the ones that gave it to them. So next thing is, well, how did the CPA get the list? Go to your pastors, go to your deacons, go to your church and find out. I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just saying, don't put it all on Ella. Ella is just reporting. I am reporting and bringing this stuff to you guys. Right, Kenneth?
Absolutely. You know,
there has to be an unbiased mediator. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Della, well, that would be out of order. Do the bylaws address that? Lord have mercy. See, thank you, Della, because what's happening here is that we want to just forget about the bylaws. To hell with the bylaws. It doesn't work for me right now. To hell with what y'all said, the voting, what you have to do to vote. I don't want to hear all that. I just want what I want. Well, it doesn't work like that. Okay? It doesn't work like that, whether it's for you, whether you're winning or whether you're losing. You got to learn how to lose just to keep your integrity. Sometimes maybe losing is the humility that most people need. Maybe these videos being exposed is the humility most people need, because we think I've been there so long that I can just do whatever. No, guys, everybody on that video is responsible. That includes Bobby Jones and anybody else on there. I said everybody. Everybody meant everybody. I'm not looking at the video to see who's on. I don't care about that. I see people that came to church that are now videotaping you in the pulpit while they're trying to have devotion.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to speak out against that. I'm sorry, because whether you like Yule or not, part of being a person of integrity is calling it what it is. Like, you know what, it's nothing wrong with saying, hey, buddy, we got to do better than this. I love you now, because I think you're upstanding. I know my mom loved him. And so I think there are a lot of people that love Yule. Obviously, Look at all the people here that's fighting for him. Right, Kenneth?
Absolutely.
There are people fighting for Yule. We will not deny that. And Latanya is one of them.
Yeah.
And her brother and a lot of different people that I'm seeing, a lot of comments. You're wanting this thing to come together where the first part is holding them accountable.
Absolutely.
So we can't, I don't think people understand this, Kenneth. I don't think they understand, because I said it earlier. Maybe they didn't hear me. Bethel is shut down.
It's shut down.
Yeah.
Down.
They didn't have church today.
Yeah,
They didn't have church Wednesday.
On
That wasn't
Easter.
because of the Ella Johnson show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have let them have. No, well, we ain't gonna go there. The church is shut down. It had nothing to do with me. You know why? Because we failed to work it out ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, if you really want to be mad about something, that's what y'all should be mad about. That we didn't have enough leadership to be able to fix this before the people on the outside said, you know what? I think y'all got a problem down there at Bethel. I think that things are getting a little out of hand. Y'all ain't wrapping this thing up. We got people fighting. The cops that keep coming down there. Listen, no, y'all need to shut it down. That is what we should be worrying about, not what I'm saying. That's the bigger problem.
And if clearly people don't see that it's a problem, I mean, I'm sure that there are a lot of members in the chat right now, you know, and that might be scared to put their feelings of how they feel about the situation at church because they feel like that they're going to be judged based on those opinions. But y'all are the ones that need to come in and fix this, you know. And so because we can't do it, I see a lot of things that go on in a lot of churches, but this one right here is so simple and it can be fixed so quickly
I think
if
so
all,
too,
if
Kenny.
all the members just come together and just speak
Yeah,
their piece, and you got to forgive people,
yeah,
because on both sides, no
yes,
matter who did what,
yes,
forgiveness is a powerful thing, and
yeah.
it could bring y'all back together, and you can actually be a lot stronger because you got to think about 5 years from now, what will Bethel look like?
Well, I hope that they'll have the young
Yeah,
people back,
yeah,
because on my show last week, there were a few people that said they don't want any parts of it. I don't know
yeah,
why people don't see that. I don't know why that doesn't matter, because
yeah.
if the church is there to win souls to Christ and you ain't winning no souls to Christ, wouldn't you say, and if I were in forget about church, Kenny,
Yes,
and I'm out here in the world and I have
yeah,
a business and
yeah,
they keep losing money.
yeah,
Every time you turn around, we losing money. People don't want to work there. You're going to look at the leadership, aren't you?
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
And
So
somebody
then
else
are
is
you
going to
going to
gain.
change?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're going to always look at leadership. Why is
yeah.
the church different?
I mean, it's just the way, sometimes it's just the way that life goes. Sometimes you're going to have people that are strong leaders, and then there's going to be sometimes that there are people that like to follow. But then, and the leaders of the church, the ones who are in these comments, they need to stand up and take their positions, because that's the only thing that God will want from all of us, and I think that's why everybody is speaking out and having something to say regarding the situation, because we love Bethel. If
Absolutely.
nobody cared, nobody
Absolutely.
would be here. You know,
Absolutely.
there
We
would be
all
not
love it.
once. Yeah, yeah. And so now that the public is involved, even though there are two sides to this situation, you still got to respect the position. At the end of the day, you voted Reverend Cunningham in to do a job, and I know in his heart, if he feel like that he's not giving the people what they want, he'll go ahead and just bow out gracefully and go on about his life, or go to another church, and then you can get whoever you want in that position. But until then, you got to come together and then find some way to resolve it.
So what do you measure it up against? When do you know that it's time to bail out? When do you know that you're not the one that's going to lead the church into the next wave of what they need to be? What do you judge that against? How
When
will
there's
Pastor Cunningham know?
when there's no butts in the seats of the church.
Oh, wow. So you think that has a lot to do with the success? If people aren't coming,
Yeah,
then we don't have anybody to preach to. Is that
because it's
is that
just
what you think?
it's an empty building at that point.
Yeah, I hear you.
And there's no money coming in. There's no youth to come in after the next person. And got to remember that all of these people who are appearing on these videos doing this stuff, people are watching. And then, and I know that the gentleman that broke the window out, that's not the way that he wanted to be perceived.
Yeah,
And because I know the family, and the family is not like that, but in a moment of being angry, you never know. When people see stuff and they see red, you don't know what you're gonna get,
yeah.
so but it happened. And I'm sure that whatever the reasons was, at the time, he was just trying to get into the house of God, and he was
Yeah.
locked out, so therefore, you do what you have to do sometimes to get to the next level. So that's where
So
I am with
Kelvin,
that.
I want to bring his comment
Yeah.
up. It says, how can a non-member change the keys on the church and that be the only keys? Okay. I don't know the answer to that. That sounds
Mhm.
like a good question for Bethel.
Yeah,
How can a non-member change the keys? If he's a non-member, how is he a trustee? How is he looking into the church's money if he's not a member?
that's
Why? How
strange.
did he get that position? How do
Yeah,
you get a position if you're not a member of the church? Who do people appoint you to that position? Did someone ask him to be? Because I'm assuming you're talking about Bobby, that has the keys. I've heard this before. That's why I know where this one is. How did he get to be in that position if he is not a member of Bethel? That's a good question. You guys should
that,
ask
that's
Bethel.
interesting. I didn't
Yeah,
know
that's
that.
very interesting. If we could get Pastor Yule on here, I'd ask him 500 questions,
Yeah,
and you guys would feel better. But since I can't do that, you can just go to the church and ask him, "Hey, Pastor, How is it that how is it that Bobby got keys to the church? How did he become a trustee anyway? How was he even nominated? Who nominated him? How did he get on the ballot to be voted on? Those are all good questions. And I just gave you the whole script right there.
Yeah.
Because that's not a question for Ella. I don't know the answer to that. Sorry. If I messed up, I messed up. Yeah, right. That's tough. Operating agreement is different than the bylaws. That is correct. Man, these people are crazy. No, they're just passionate. I don't want to say that people are crazy who come here to fight for their pastor. If I had a pastor and I know I love my pastor and I see or I perceive that he's being treated unfairly, I'm going to fight for him too. Right.
Well, it's family. So you fight for family,
That's right.
And so.
But when it comes to the church, there has to be a godly standard.
Yes.
It can't be, this is my uncle crazy. Everybody got a crazy uncle. No, now you got souls in your hand. That's different. I measure that differently. And if it's my soul we talking about, then I'm going to hold a different kind of standard. Most people, a lot of people may not, but we should. It shouldn't be any different. We should have a godly standard. And if he meets that godly standard, put him in the pulpit, let him preach next Sunday. Let's convince the courts that Bethel is back and we know how to act. And that we're not going to have any of this wilding out and that people are going to sit in their seats like they're supposed to act in the house of God and not all up in the pulpit, putting their hands in people's faces like they're getting ready to fight, like we're in some brawl or somewhere.
Right.
So when we know how to act, then maybe we can convince the courts to finally lift this suspension. And then now we can get back to the business at hand. I don't know.
I just feel like if wrong was done, the wrong needs to be addressed, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
I pray they can do this on their own. The courts don't care about the history of this church and the congregation. Thank you.
They don't care at all.
And that's why we should have never went to the church, to the courts.
Yeah.
That was, the Bethel went to the courts, okay, and complained about something. And I think that litigation is wrapping up, but there's a defamation lawsuit that's still ongoing. You see what I'm saying, guys? So it's just, that's why I can't talk about a lot of stuff, because there's a defamation lawsuit going on. And listen, for the record, I invited Pastor Yule to this show as well. And I told him I was going to show that video. And I also explained to him that I was going to talk about the letter that was sent that came from Bethel, from the deacons, that was sent to Pastor Culliver, asking him to intervene and asking him, what do you think about that? So for anybody thinks that I'm just sitting on here and I'm not inviting the other side, I'm inviting all sides.
Did you get a reply?
That's it.
Did you get a reply from him?
I'm not going to beg anybody.
Ella,
what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about what I have in front of me. And what I presented tonight is what I have in front of me. I have not talked about what I heard. I have talked about what I see and what I'm showing. So we may not like it. I get it. Well, when I can get some other information, I'll share that as well. Kenneth mentioned the keys. Okay. She's saying Kenneth mentioned the keys.
Oh, yeah, I did. I said the person that has the keys, has, the deed to the house. So that's normally, but if he's not a member, how is that even possible?
That's a good question. Who made him their trustee?
Yeah.
Doesn't that have to be approved by the leader?
Yeah.
Don't deacons and leaders be ordained? Aren't they approved by the pastor first before they get in that position?
Yeah, well, that's just like a higher position, And so
then if he was in there, who put him there? Who was the pastor?
Yeah, because
So
because anybody working for an organization and they don't belong, then that's a paid position. So is he getting paid?
I don't think any of them are getting paid. I think the only people that get paid is the pastor and the secretary, maybe a janitor or something like that. I'm not sure, but I know that the deacons and trustees don't get paid.
Yeah.
I think it's an unpaid. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah.
You have the text message and bring it to the screen. Text messaging, bring it to the screen. You mean the text message that gives me the right to show the video from the owner? I'm not going to do that. Just like if you tell me something, I'm not going to bring your information to the screen. I don't reveal my sources, nor do I have to. I'm not going to do that, guys. I brought enough to the screen. I brought the letter. I brought the receipts for the letter that was returned. I mean, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do anything to anybody because I didn't talk about the person that's for you and they called me to tell me, hey, oh, I heard what you said on your show, and I disagree with a lot of it. I brought their stuff to the screen, but I didn't tell you who, and I never will. Right? Fair is fair.
Fair is fair.
Fair is fair.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. All right. Right is right. All right, guys. Wrong is wrong. Right is right. Good night. Good night, Alejandro. Thank you. I'm going to move through some of these quickly, guys. There's so many. Too much pride going on. These are kind of things that happens when pride takes over, along with disobedience. Everyone wants to be the leader. Sad, and sadder. Yeah. I think that is true. We gotta, do you want to do another poll? We got 100% on this one. Good job on that one, Kenneth.
Oh, okay.
You want to do another one? So we're going to do another poll right now, guys. We're going to stop this one.
You want to throw one out? You want to just throw one out? Because I think, yeah.
What is the next best step for Bethel to move forward? Number 1, private mediation. Number 2, community-wide meeting, independent review, or prayer and reconciliation. What should they be focusing on now at Bethel? And guys, we're almost done with this conversation. We're going to be moving to our next conversation shortly. I just wanted us to touch Bethel. We won't be touching this one for a while because there's a lot of litigation going on. And as long as there aren't any more wild and out videos, which there probably won't be because there's no church service going on. So Latanya says, I don't go to church there. I'm not fighting for anyone. Okay. Well, I would love to have someone like you on my side, Latanya. You make great arguments, and thank you. Your comments are welcome here, except the one that said I'm being biased.
Now, Latanya, she's a natural born leader. Latanya she's a leader, and she could get them in order. You know, I've known her for a long time, and I know that she could rile the troops up and get this church back on track.
Well, then I think that she should have a voice there. Then,
yeah,
and I think that's the young voice they're missing.
Absolutely.
Someone who is educated, someone that knows how to articulate themselves, not somebody think they got to be all wild and out in every interaction. No, if you're going to be a leader, you're not going to get people on your side acting like that. Nobody is. That's just not how it works. You're never going to see eye to eye. And she said, and is. All right, guys, let's get on down to this. Oh my gosh. There's so many comments. Let me bring up some people I haven't brought up in a while. The mission statement should be the criteria to measure whether the leader is meeting the church's objectives or not. It's clearly defined in the mission statement. Kim is absolutely correct. Last week, we read the mission statement here on the show, and I think that's your measuring stick. Because the measuring stick says that what you're in existence for. And if you're not proving that and you're not doing that, then perhaps there should be someone who can. Now, I think that what we have to do is give Ewell the opportunity to fix it. He has the opportunity now, and I see what he does. Just saying. I know you have a lot of respect for him, Kenny. I know you've known him for years. I have too. I've been to Bethel. I've shook hands with him. But right is right. And what I saw in that video, I did not see Ewell stepping up to do the right thing. You want to preach, but you don't want to lead.
Right. But I mean, but you have to understand, he understands his position that he's suspended. So why showcase yourself?
So why is he trying to preach?
I don't think he was trying to preach. He was just, from what I saw in the video, he was just sitting in the chair.
Oh, no. Do we need to play the video back?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Let me show.
Yeah.
I gotta be able to say what I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Because there may be other people that's thinking the same way you're thinking. Like, well, Ella, he was just trying to be there. He wasn't trying to preach. Yeah. Well, then why in the world are we going through all this commotion if it wasn't for him trying to preach? Of course, it was because he wanted to preach. So I want to take you back to this right here.
Okay.
This part right about here. See that? They're telling him, go get in your chair, Pastor.
We're going to put Reverend Cunningham in his chair.
And then this guy goes and sits in it.
Yeah, okay. I see that now.
See that? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, whether he was right or not to go and sit in the chair, like what is this, the fascination with this chair? But that's what it was all about. They wanted him to preach. There's another preacher sitting on the pulpit who was called and told to come and preach. And then that's how that commotion got started.
But now who made the call for the guest pastor to come?
I'm assuming that it was someone on the deacon board. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know all the particulars about that.
Yeah.
Why didn't they know this guy was coming? I don't know if they knew he was coming and they decided, well, we're not gonna he ain't coming up in here and preach. You know, I don't know. I just know what we see here on the video. That's the only thing I wanted to show, because that's all I know is what's on the video. And I wanted clarity on the video, and that was it. Now, all the stuff behind the scenes, I don't know about all that. I think that people that go to Bethel should know. You shouldn't have to come to my show to find out what's going on in your church.
Correct.
And if that's what you guys want, you're not going to find that, because I'm not obligated to tell you what's going on in your church other than the stuff that I think is relevant. Now, if you really want to know what's really going on, why are they acting like this, you should call a meeting. You should call them if you don't like it. Now, some people obviously don't have a problem with this. So Raquel says Bobby is a member. It's clear as day he's an active member. See? Yeah. So we have someone here saying that he is a member, and it makes sense. I mean, it's almost like, is he a member, not a member? Why is he voting? Why is he on the trustee board, or he's a deacon now? Because he was a trustee, now he's a deacon. Why? How did he get there? Because somebody had to approve it. Yeah. And I'm gonna take a guess that the pastor had something to do with him being on those boards. I don't know, Kenny. I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know, but I know he didn't just insert himself into it and say, "Hey, I want to be a trustee." Pretty sure he didn't do that.
No, that's an appointed position, so I don't think he could just give you.
Okay, so thank you, Kenny. Listen. If I was y'all pastor, I would really let the people have the building, not the church, but the building. The pastor should not be out in the public like this. I would tell everyone that God is not pleased with these actions at all. What do you say to that, Kenneth?
You know, I think everything can be fixed. You know, I still, at the end of the day, feel like that if the members come together, and if Pastor Cunningham is watching this video and he's seeing what people are saying, then that's something to sleep on and make a decision whether or not, do the people love me? Do the people want me? What kind of difference can I make in the community? Because at the end of the day, it's not about one individual person. It's about the church. It's about Bethel, and about, because nobody's bigger than that. Nobody's bigger than God and what God wants his place. And he doesn't like this. I can guarantee you that everybody that's going through this at night, going to bed and trying to sleep peacefully, there's no way, unless you're a psychopath, so I feel like all of it can be fixed.
So I have this, Savola says, I work in a financial institution, and I'm still curious how they let a non-member sign a $500,000 mortgage form. That's tight, but it's right. Now, I don't know. I'm assuming that what she's saying is that Bobby's name is on a $500,000 mortgage. So I don't know why Bethel will let a non-member do that.
Well, that changes the whole thing.
Yeah, it does. You see why you have to talk? Because there's just some things you don't know, right? Yeah. We just keep I don't like seeing stuff continue. That's why I'm so glad that people will come forward and say certain things so that it can bring clarity for all of us. Because you guys may know something I don't know. If you know, bring it. But some of these things you shouldn't ask me. You should be asking your church. Maybe money made him the trustee. Maybe money. Oh, maybe money. Are you saying that because he has money, that's why he was the trustee? I don't know.
Well, money can make a whole bunch of stuff go away, and a lot of stuff happen. So
we tend to forget about stuff when people that can sign a $500,000 mortgage. Yeah. Vicky Hand says, I love my home church. All of these members that are disputing are all family members, and I'm disheartened to know how this has affected my family. My grandfather was a founding member, so this tears holes in my heart. I just want peace and love. See, I'm with Vicky.
Me too.
I am 1,000% with Vicky. Vicky loves the church. Yeah. She loves the pastor, but she doesn't like seeing what she's saying. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean she hates Ewell. She loves Ewell. She loves her home church. I do too. I love Ewell. I love my home church. But I don't like this foolishness. Not at all. And I know God don't either. It ain't about what I like. It's about what he like. Do you think if God tried to get in at the church and he came in and he had to sit in the back and see all this, because everybody say God is here, right? Well, why in the world would we act like that if we know he's there? Right?
Well, yeah, well, the devil is loving this because he loves seeing the church divided like this. He's just sitting back and probably got a pina colada, just laughing at the whole
Not a
situation.
pina
But
colada.
yeah, he likes those.
He said, I am almost in tears. I saw my dear friends and my family involved in this foolishness, and they are good people. That's right. I
Yeah,
saw a lot of good people in those videos. That is why we have to pray. That's real talk. Like, guys, I know that we are very passionate, all of us, but at the end of the day, this is my message. My message is that we come together. Let's pray for Bethel. Like, I'm for real.
yeah,
I'm for real a lot. Let's pray for Bethel. But we cannot make a difference if we uphold foolishness. We can't. We can't, because you are setting yourselves up for this to continue.
yeah.
Someone has to say stop.
And somebody's gonna
Someone.
get hurt if it doesn't. You
And
know.
I maybe the leader isn't the one with the title.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, y'all gonna get that one tomorrow. Because the hell with the title. I want to see what you do speak so loudly I can't hear what you're saying. That's my favorite quote.
right.
All right, guys. We're gonna move on to the next subject. Kenneth, it sounds like an episode of Greenleaf.
Absolutely.
Not
It's like
Greenleaf.
people are here for all the drama going on. It's like a reality show that they don't get to see outside of TV. So
Now Renee said it right. This is a good place to stop right here. This is what I'm talking about. She said when a person is suspended from a job, we like our jobs, don't we? They are
yeah,
not allowed back until the
to the spin.
suspension is over.
And that's
Now
correct.
tell me if that's wrong. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
And if you were suspended from your job, Kenneth,
yeah.
would you try to go back up in there the next day?
Depends on what I was suspended for. Now, if they,
You're not going postal, are you?
not gonna go postal, but I mean, but if I was wrong, if I was wronged in whatever they suspended me for, of course I'm gonna go and always defend
And you
myself.
going to jail. And you
Yeah.
going to jail.
Well, it depends if I do something, but just showing up doesn't do anything.
So
You know
then
that.
you're okay with going and demanding your spot at the pulpit
If
because
I
you don't feel like you should have been suspended.
Well, it depends on what was done, and so you got to always think about that. Like if what was done was so wrong, just bring it to the public and let people know why he was suspended. And if that
Okay.
makes sense, then of course, then you have a different opinion about why. Like I feel like 'cause I would tell like bro, like for real, like if you did this, yeah, you probably need to sit this one out. And if you did something that was really bad, yeah, you need to go ahead and get his position up because now you're stopping progress at this point, and all of the
Well,
people
I
who,
think that's now. I think
yeah,
progress is stopped.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I feel like because people want to get back and start worshiping again, but now they have nowhere to go. So what are they doing? And then if they keep this up, and then other churches are going to start gaining other members, and then therefore there won't be anybody to come back to. And next thing you know, then the church has changed to somebody completely different, and they done changed the name too.
Yeah.
So
Della says, but they said the deacons who voted were not ordained. Does the bylaw say they must be ordained before voting? I think that I think these guys were already ordained, some of them, because these are people that were in a position and they were put out of the position, Kenneth. This is the part everybody's missing. They were put out of their position that they already had been ordained in. Make it make sense.
so they
And
mad.
that's why the judge said, y'all need to do a new election because you didn't
Yeah.
do it right.
Well, that's just like getting fired from a job. You're gonna be mad, and you got to get your get back.
You're
And
gonna
so
get
then,
mad, but then you gotta also have integrity. And you can't be trying to wilding out like the world.
but you
Why
can't
you
tell
trying to
people
be
how
like
mad
that?
to get though. You can't tell people how mad to get when you make them mad. And that's
Well,
like
I
if
tell you what. I
yeah,
tell you what. I don't think getting mad is good. Is worth going to jail and having your
no,
name out here like this. I
no,
really
not at
don't.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Vanessa says, I love my church love the church as well, but a lot of things have gone unnoticed for years. Look at his last name. I won't put dirt on you all, Pastor, but it's floating. Money was the reason he was there. It was way past due because God did say things would be uncovered, nothing hidden. Mrs. Sally was a faithful member. It's ridiculous. What does he know on the deacons? Today we were waiting on another ruckus. He feel he's in control, but he's not. It's high time.
Mm.
Now, when she says Mrs. Sally was a faithful member, what she means to say is that she was a faithful member, been there all these years, put her money into Bethel, and then when it came time to bury her, she wasn't good enough to be in the church and have her service.
Really?
Oh,
Oh, I
yes.
love
Don't
Miss
let me go
Sally.
there, because that's my family.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Oh, yeah. Please don't let me go there, because then I'll be forgetting all about this. That's my
Wow.
heart. And I learned a lot from watching her and
Yeah,
how she
absolutely. We
moved in
all
that.
did. Yeah.
Yes. Put out by whom? Okay. No, they were not ordained as deacons.
Wow.
Okay. So were any of the people, Pamela, that were there before re-elected? I want to ask her because she's saying that no, they were not ordained as deacons. The people that are deacons now, they were deacons before this mess started. Correct? So were they good enough then? Is that why they were put out? Because they weren't ordained? Like, it's all a mess. They were deacons before. They were deacons before. There's some of the people that were deacons before, they were re-voted back in. So if they weren't ordained then, how is it that they're not there? I'm just trying to understand that. That's
Did
a
they,
lot way over my head right there, Kenneth. I don't know,
did,
because I don't know how that works, Pamela.
did,
So excuse me for my ignorance. I don't know, but I'm just saying some of the people that were re-voted were there before.
did they do
So
something so egregious that they were put out of those positions? Oh, or was it just like, okay, I don't want
that's a
you now?
very good question.
Yeah,
That is a very good question. And I
yeah.
wish they were here to answer. How is it that you will call the vote for them to just be gone? You're not going to be deacons anymore and put new people in. How did that happen? How does that happen?
Yeah,
That
because
ain't in the bylaws, I know.
yeah,
Allegedly, this is what happened at Bethel. And that's
yeah,
why there had to be a new election. So I just think it's a mess. I think that everybody that's there, I think we need to set them down. And I think that there needs to be a real leader that comes in there, mediates this thing, hear both sides and say, okay, look, let's look at the bylaws. Let's look
correct.
at your operating agreement and let's do this the right way. Let's be more informative to the congregation so they know their rights and what they can do. This is not that hard. Y'all don't have that many people that this can't be worked out. So what do we do? Let's get this together. It's not that difficult.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, it's like, come on. I don't understand. God always have a way of letting us see ourselves. A lot of people should be looking at themselves through God's eyes in this situation. Just remember that nothing happens unless God allows it. Wrong only
correct.
lasts for season. Wrong will definitely come to an end. Sometimes it's hard to accept what God allows to happen. Yes, let everyone pray. I think that all things work together for good. Is that not in the word, Kenny?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
why do all things work together for good? Even mess.
yeah.
What is it? How can God turn this for good?
Oh, it's easy to change this around because there's a lesson behind everything. There's always a lesson in the storm, and
Good.
I totally believe that and I feel like even you being in this position to bring this to the community, and it may not feel like a small thing, but it's a big thing for a lot of people that don't have a voice. And that's why it's one of those things, when we sat down and we talked about this years ago about even getting this show started, and I was just like, okay, yeah, so this is what's going to happen. And now look what you're doing. You're changing lives with whatever you're saying, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Some people are
Yeah.
getting something from it. And we just got to stick together and love on our community and bring them back together.
Because I don't want anybody to think that I'm being one-sided here. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ever side with foolishness. I'm never gonna do
No,
that.
no, no.
Even if it's my foolishness. If
Yeah.
I do something wrong, Eleanor, you know you
Yeah.
were wilding out. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
trifling. You shouldn't have done that. Call me out.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect
Absolutely.
either.
Yeah.
But I have to own it because that's what leadership is. You have to be humble to be a good leader. You
Absolutely.
got to be like, you know what, guys, I may not like how this vote happened. I may not like it. I may not agree with it, but let's fix it first before I try to get up in the pulpit. Let's keep order. Let's
Yeah.
keep the service going. Let's keep the tithing going. Let's stay off social media.
Yeah.
Let's keep people out of our business now. That's what leadership. Bring it together. You gotta do that. All right. Well, we're gonna get out of this subject tonight. Woof. Tight, but it's right. Ain't it,
Mhm.
Kenny?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
knew that this was gonna be a difficult because we know that people are so passionate about this. But
Yeah.
this week, something else happened. I want you to usher us into the next phase, Kenny, and talk about Ammarin Tunstall.
Okay.
Let's bring
Um,
his picture up for those people that don't know.
Yeah.
Him right here this week.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, that's it's pretty sad, that especially being Easter today, and and like I said earlier, just giving love to the Tunstall family, and I know how hard this is, and his mom Sharon. We send you all the love and hugs that you can handle. And as a community, even the community that's on here, you see her out in the street, just give her a hug and let her know that we love her and that we're going to embrace her and take this whole situation, until the end. And we're going to be with her and fight through it. So, but what I saw on that video was absolutely heartbreaking. I don't care how you paint it, and how people, look at it or perceive what it looked like. It looked really, really bad. And I know that some new stuff came out in the media this week, as if, this was a choice. But I mean, if you've ever been hit by a stun gun, or if you've ever felt the power of any type of electricity, it'll knock you off of your feet where you can't talk, you can't walk. And I just feel like what I saw in that video was that type of thing. So
I want to show you guys the video. I want to show you the video of what the chief of police and the most current news about the case right here.
First, Monroeville's top cop laying out why her officers were caught on camera dragging a man who died in police custody.
That viral video causing a lot of people to question what the officers did to 35-year-old Ammarin Tunstall. Now we're hearing from Police Chief Mandy Armstrong.
She says that Tunstall refused to walk. Our Natalie Williamson breaking this story earlier this week.
And she has the new developments tonight.
Lenise and Cameron, it's been more than 72 hours since Ammarin Tunstall died while he was in the custody of the Monroeville Police Department. And tonight, for the first time, the Monroeville Police Chief is giving their side of the story. Tonight, Monroeville Police Chief Mandy Armstrong is explaining why her officers were dragging a man who died about an hour later. This viral video shows Ammarin Tunstall being taken into custody Monday afternoon on Crow Avenue. Chief Armstrong released a statement late this afternoon saying, quote, Mr. Tunstall was talking with officers and alert, but refused to walk. This was not uncommon behavior for Mr. Tunstall. The chief says officers were responding to a call on Tunstall for a domestic situation. Armstrong says Tunstall had outstanding warrants, and when an officer approached him, Tunstall ran into nearby woods. Police say he was eventually taken into custody, quote, without incident. But one of Tunstall's family members disputes that claim, telling me earlier this week that officers pepper sprayed and tased Tunstall multiple times. Tunstall's cousin Selena Thomas says she witnessed officers pulling him from the wooded area.
He was on his knees, and I asked the officer, could I speak with him? He told me no, because I called his name, he didn't respond. They threw him back on the police car, face down.
The chief says Tunstall was talking to officers when he got into the police car. The chief says once Tunstall arrived at the Monroe County Detention Facility, he was unresponsive. That's when police gave him medical aid and called EMS. He was taken to Monroe County ER, where he was pronounced dead. While the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency continues looking into the case, State Representative Thomas Jackson, who represents Monroe County, is calling for more state involvement.
And I'm asking for an investigation from the Attorney General's office to look into this matter, because we got too many of these things happening in our neighborhood where people of color are being abused by law enforcement.
We're still waiting on the results of Tunstall's autopsy. We'll keep you updated as the story develops. In Monroeville, Natalie Williamson, Fox 10 News.
Very sad.
This is one of those situations where it has been a very heavy week, Kenneth.
Mm-hmm.
It has been heavy because it's been so much. We're taking in so much, guys. We got what's going on, what we just talked about. Then we got this. There's so much going back and forth on Facebook, and this was what I felt immediately we could do. I want to share with you guys. There are people that have really stepped up to assist in this situation. I like this Pastor Joshua Buford. Have you seen? He was the first person that actually had a conversation with Chief of Police, and he's been reporting and posting every time he has some kind of encounter, or if he knows something more, if he just wants to say something, put it out there. But he has been very instrumental in this and getting information for the family. I saw that Sharon, hello Sharon, if you're watching, love you, dear. I saw that Sharon thanked him for all of the work that he has done thus far by stepping in the gap like he said he would do. And I just appreciate you too, Pastor Buford, because I think it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to be about it. And he is doing exactly what he said. So I just want, if anybody knows him, kudos. And anybody else that's made a phone call. Listen, we started this week. We were like, somebody was like, oh, I had no idea that was actually you in the afro. Yeah, that's not my hair, but that's me. But anyway, we did this thing because this is something that I think is simply powerful. When you reach out to your representatives and your senators, they have to respond if enough people are calling. And I know that I did this one day and I said, hey, this is great. Let's keep calling. Then I did another poll here saying, do you believe Ammarin was refusing to walk? We're going to get to that in a second. But I liked how other people joined in. Look at Mrs. Prier. She joined in. She took the challenge and did the fist up. Kenny, I didn't see your fist up. What's up, my friend?
Oh, yeah, but there it is.
Well,
Yeah.
And then Miss Takika, she actually did it as well. So thank you guys for chiming in and following along. But what's most important is that people are continuing to call. It is very important, guys. You see how Thomas Jackson, he's one of the ones on this list. Thomas Jackson is on this list. Shamari Figures is on this list. If you want to make a difference and you really, really want to get to the heart of legislature and get your name on their mouths, you have to call repeatedly. Because at the end of the day, what they do is they compile a list of all the calls, where they're coming from, what was said, and then they hand that list over to their representative or those senators. Okay. Yeah. So it's important to keep letting them know, because fighting on Facebook is not going to get us anything. Okay. Nothing. What it's going to do is get us unnoticed. So what we need to do is let's do the stuff that we need to do to get the power. Yes. This is how we get the power. We make sure that they know we're not letting go. We're not giving up. Now, what I can't do tonight on this broadcast is I don't really want to get into the weeds of evidence and all of that stuff, because it's still an investigation, right, Kenny?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's still an investigation. So all I want to talk about is the video. What did you think when you saw that video, Kenny?
I was horrified, because I can clearly see somebody that was just unconscious being drugged on the ground, as if, he didn't mean anything. And then to see the young lady walking in front of him as if it was just a normal day in the park, and that hurt a lot, because even though I didn't know Ammarin, but he's still my brother, and we're going to still do what we have to do to protect him and his family moving forward, because there's been so many things that have been going on in the city of Monroeville, so many unsolved cases, and this is one that we cannot, we can't just let this one just go under the rug without seeing, what the police saw. Where is the body cam footage? Because, and thank God that there was footage being filmed, because at least we got something, and at least it'll give the family some closure that we know what's going on. Because if the officers were wrong, then they need to be held accountable for it. Yeah,
1,000%.
Yeah.
Let's break down what Mandy said, because it seems like because we have a video that we've seen. Everybody has seen the video. I can't show the video again. I can't do it, especially if his mother is watching. But let's break down what she said. She said that he was taken into custody without incident. What does that mean to you when you hear that?
Taken into custody as if he was just a normal day in the park where you arrest somebody, and that's not true. Clearly, you can see that that's not true. To them, maybe that's what it looks like, but if you have two eyes, you can clearly see that video that he was pretty much knocked out and just being drugged by his knees and feet on the ground, and you can't unsee that, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, I agree. Vanessa says they really touched me, but they don't even consider. Can you tell me where he had the seizure? Why they gave him Narcan? Just because he had done this before, don't have the right to prejudge him. They didn't treat him with dignity at all. 1,000%.
Absolutely. And if you've been hit with a stun gun and pepper spray, you know, clearly that some of those stun guns are so powerful. It's not like a regular, like you get struck by some electricity in your house. A stun gun is to sting you and knock you down, you know, and therefore you have no faculties that you could use. You can't talk, you can't walk, you can't do nothing. So
how would we know that he would? Because I didn't see that anywhere. Was he actually? So when you say that, are you talking about getting tased? He was tased. Oh, okay. Do we believe that he was tased?
Absolutely. Because that looks like, you know, he was the way they were dragging him on the ground, that looks like a person that was tased, you know. And then pretty much if your heart can't take that much electricity, your heart could go out.
So then when they say he was walking at first and then he went down, what did we see in the video that he was actually walking?
It was cut. So initially when they was walking him through, it was almost like he was, you know, stumbling. But then there's a cut in the video, and then the next thing you see is him being drugged on the ground.
That's true.
You know, so but normal procedure when you have a situation where someone faints, you pick them up by their feet, and somebody's behind them, and then they put them in. But they were basically dragging him like a rag doll.
So it seems like what the real issue is, because she said, let me see what else Mandy said. She said he was talking with officers and alert, but refused to walk. That it's not uncommon behavior. That's why we had to do this. This right here. Yeah. This is why we had to do this right here, because she's talking foolishness. She said he was alert. He was clearly doing just fine.
Yeah, there's clearly the video. No, that's why I thank God for whoever was filming that video, that they got it on tape, because the video is not going to make something up. You know, and I understand what she's probably trying to do is save the city from maybe a lawsuit, because if it comes out to find out that they did this and it was done intentionally, it'll bankrupt the whole city. So you have to do what you have to do, you know, to protect the business. And so
then basically what I saw, and this is just my opinion, okay, let me say that, so I don't want anybody coming at me with Alan, there's still an investigation. I know that. I said that. What I'm saying is my opinion of what I saw. When I saw him go limp, I felt, this is what I felt when I first saw it. I said that was the moment he died. I felt that. That's what I said. He was unconscious, and I think that he was dying in that moment as he was being drugged. Because then when they said, well, Ella, he could have walked, but then I'm like, well, then why didn't he flinch? Because the way his leg was scraping. He had on shorts, right?
Yeah.
So if his leg, why didn't he move, jump, or something? I know it had to burn.
But he was knocked out.
He was knocked out.
You
so
know,
what do you think when the moment they saw that he was knocked out? What do you think in that moment should they have done when he completely went limp? What should they have done? What do you think?
Well, they should have called the paramedics. You know, at that point. You know, just to make sure that he was okay. But they were walking as if it was just like a normal day in the park. I mean, we can respect law enforcement at the end of the day, but they still got to be accountable for what happened there. And, you know, and therefore, if they don't release the body cam footage, only thing that we as the public have access to is the video. Whoever filmed that, that's the only thing that we have access to. And so we basing our assumptions on that video. And what we clearly all see is a person that was being drugged on the ground and not moving.
Yeah. So appreciative of you for you posting this and providing the information to allow us the opportunity to call, voice our opinions, request a transparent. Yeah, absolutely, Vicky, because you know what? If we're going to make things move I think that when the days are gone where we can just complain, there are things we can do now. And you have to reach out to the people that want your vote. These people are going to be sending out their nice little pretty flyers, won your vote. And they should get it if they step up to the plate. And they should not if they don't. So
Yeah.
I think that it's important for us as a people to know what can we do. Because this doesn't cost anything, right? We didn't have to call a lawyer to do it. It's just a matter of making a phone call. Boom, boom, boom. I gave you the script. Just say that and hang up. Now, I've had people tell me, Ella, I actually talked to people. And they were like frustrated. I was like, for real? What were they frustrated about? They were like, because they were saying, you know, yeah, we know we've gotten this call all day. Keep calling. I know that you may have called one day. Keep call every day. That's how you got to do it. Those are the things that make them move. So you may be getting on their nerves, but that's all right. This is how we got to do it. Right, Kenneth?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got to understand, you know, to some people, you know, this Black life didn't matter, but to us, it matters 100%. And everybody on this line should pick up the phone tomorrow and put in a call and just keep ringing the phone until they get the message, because it actually could get a lot bigger than what it is right now. And, you know, they don't want another George Floyd type of situation on their hands. So, you know, in order to fix this, you know, only thing that we're asking for is release the body cam footage, you know, and we could get the family and do like an independent investigation of what's going on, and to just have some clear communication with us about what's happening, and don't make stuff up.
And don't make stuff up.
Yeah.
I like what Lakeitha said. She said, if we find out that she lied in any way, she deserves to be fired.
Well, she's already done that, you know, so, you know.
She said she's already done a whole 3
Yeah.
Because another thing she said that while he was being escorted, let me read this. While he was being escorted to the patrol vehicle, he walked on his own for a distance and then stopped again. She said he stopped again. Like, what does that mean, man? He stopped what? He stopped and played checkers. He stopped. He collapsed.
Well,
Say the right word.
Well, because he could have had a heart attack in the process of walking.
On words, I think.
You know, it's like when people have heart attacks, you know, sometimes you stumble 1, 2, 3, boom, you know, and so it's just one of those things where it feels like, or what it looks like is he started out walking and then something happened in the process. And so therefore what we see after the video cuts is him being drugged on the ground. Like, where's the respect? Where's the dignity, you know, that he is due, no matter what he did, you know, no matter what he did or how long they've been looking for him, you know, but for her to then say something completely, you know, off the wall, you know, we clearly see what happened.
Yeah. And her words definitely don't line up with the video.
No.
You're saying that she also said that he spoke with officers as he was being placed in the vehicle to be transported to the detention facility. What? He spoke? Like what? No, the way, because I was looking through the glass, even though it was tinted, you can see he was still slumped over.
Yeah.
That is why when they put him in there, he was face down. They put him in there just like they were dragging him. So when the cousin on the video said, I saw him when they put him in the car, he was face down. And what does that say?
Well, so maybe the police doesn't realize that there's another video out there, you know, and so just to cover their own behind, you know, because pretty much if you don't check in with the community, you don't know what the community has or don't have. And so in her mind, she's thinking that nobody was watching for her to then put that statement out but there's a video and clearly everybody has it, you know. And so, you know, now anything that you say will be held against you in the court of law.
Right.
Yeah.
Then she said that upon arrival, he became unresponsive, began giving medical aid, and called EMS. They began, upon arrival. Now, okay, how does what she said compare or differ from what the county sheriff said, Boatwright said? Because it sounds like he said aid was administered at the facility. Because the sheriff basically is like, listen, I didn't have anything to do with this. That's what it looks like to me. The sheriff is saying, look, I didn't have anything to do with this. We didn't want him in here to have him on our watch because we saw that this young man had a faint pulse.
Well, he probably already knew that he had already passed away, and he was like, "I'm not gonna put this on my hands." You know, this is for you to deal with, and so, you know.
See, I want to know what happened in the car. Why would you put someone with a medical emergency in the back of a car instead of the ambulance? Because now my speculation is you may have done something in that car. You're not. That's not an EMT. It can't treat him. He should have been in a vehicle that can treat him.
Right.
So if you have him in this police car, how do I know you didn't put your hand over his nose and help his?
I'm sure they wasn't expecting him to pass away, but and so therefore they was just treating him like they normally treat everybody else. But unfortunately, with this situation is different. That he didn't make it. And I think that they need to be held accountable for that.
So Lakeitha says we heard the officer talking to him. He didn't say one word.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But clearly, I mean, you can talk to somebody and they can't respond back. That don't mean that they talk to you. So
just like the cousin said, or whomever the young lady was, she said that she was trying to say something and he didn't say anywhere. Now, I have personally heard people say they heard him in the backyard back there screaming for help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that means if he was screaming, that means that he was probably being tased, because a tase will make you scream,
Okay.
And if you get hit 2 times with the same taser, that's double, so it's different.
Ooh. And is that why he was possibly allegedly asking for water? Probably. Because I've had people say that.
Well, because if you ask for water, if you got pepper spray in your nose, or because you can't breathe, you can't do anything. Your functions don't work, and a little water just to go down because your throat gets tight,
The law is supposed to serve and protect, meaning to serve the community and protect the people. This never happens. Yeah. I mean, we have that story so often. They should have called emergency management to Marengo Street. Yeah. I you get a lot of, I don't know if you know this, but like if I post something, it's almost like I invite all the haters, like well, Ella, and we had a long thread going back and forth yesterday with this guy saying, you guys gonna owe an apology after that. Bruh, I promise you, you won't hear an apology out of me, because I don't apologize for saying it's inhumane. I didn't say the officers killed him. You're not going to hear that come out of my mouth, because how can any of us, we can't really say that. We can say that because we're grown, but we can't really say it and have substance because there is an investigation still pending. What we can say is what we saw on the video.
Absolutely.
That's what
and that's the fact of it.
So, there's an elephant in the room here when it comes to all of the confusion. Have you been privy to a lot of the confusion that you've seen on Facebook around this and the bickering going back and forth? Have you seen it? Like, I don't want to get much to that.
Not really, because I understand, that with anything that happens, there's always 2 sides. Everybody can see, something completely different, depends on what they're watching. But I do know at the end of the day, we have a family that's grieving. Mm-hmm. And that's the most important, is to wrap love around them, because he's not coming back, at the end of the day. And somebody got to be held accountable for what happened. I don't care if people say, that he could have been the worst person in the world, but he still was a human being that didn't deserve that.
See, let me tell you, when somebody starts talking about his past, I'm ready to cuss him out. I don't even cuss. Okay? Yeah. Because that's irrelevant. That is irrelevant
to the whole situation. Yeah.
I don't care what he did. I don't miss me with that. But this is, this is the narrative that's coming. You know that.
Of course. Because that's what always happens, is try to paint him to be the worst person in the world. And, but he had somebody at the end of the day that loved him down to the ground. And, and now he's been taken away from them. And somebody needs to be held accountable for what happened. And the family deserves answers so they can get some type of closure as to, how this whole situation happened, no matter what they say. They could say anything, but somebody has to be held accountable.
I like this comment that Kim makes here, because I haven't seen this one. This is good. He says the cops give tickets for not buckling the seatbelt. Did they buckle the victim in a seatbelt? Very good.
Well, they look like they just threw him in the back seat.
That's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
That, I think out of all of this, the way they dragged him along there and threw him in the back seat, that's the part that pisses me off the most.
Yeah.
because they didn't care. And if people don't want to address that part, you cannot have this conversation with me. I'm telling you, you cannot have this conversation with me because I'm not listening to anything. Because people love to try to talk about Ella. I don't care about that. But you look at what they did to him. Talk to me about that first.
Yeah, until it happens to them, that's the thing. Until it happens to you or somebody in your family, you can't feel any sympathy for what's going on. And so and so that's why it takes us as the community to stand in the gap for this young man, because he was important to somebody. He's important to me, and I didn't even know him, but
right?
but I knew members of his family. So
his mom is a sweetheart. She's been through so much. Let me tell you, April, I like your comment here. April says, imagine being drugged on asphalt, rocks, and if you had any life in your body, who would not try to get up or move to free their feet and legs from being drugged? This is so sad to see, and for the family to have to witness. I haven't spoken on this much, but I have mixed sons and grandsons and a lot of black, white, and mixed kids. I love and that they call me Ma. I feel some type of way about this video situation, and it is horrible to watch. My prayers go out to his family, and I pray they get justice. Absolutely. That's what I was saying earlier. Like if he's on that asphalt, he's gonna flinch, come up, or do something if he's conscious. So we know he was not conscious.
Yeah.
The question is, was he? Because she's trying to make it seem like he was faking it, Kenneth. That's another thing. Shame on you, man.
Well, that's just another narrative, because again, she doesn't know that there's another video that exists showing what really happened. Now if they can release the body cam footage with audio, that's very important. Release the audio along with the video so we can clearly see what happened from the time they got there to the time that they put him in a police car arriving at the jail or detention facility, whatever they're calling it now. Yeah.
Vanessa says they didn't provide first aid to him. I think that's the biggest thing that everybody is really puzzled by. They didn't provide first aid. He is a person, not a dog, not a sack of potatoes. I feel if when it comes to the surface, we will understand how Monroeville really is. Boatwright praised what the sheriff department has done for the community. I mean, I like how he came out like right away, like, hey, this wasn't us,
Well,
we didn't do this. Sorry about what happened, but I would have done that too. He's like, no, I want y'all mad at me because we didn't.
Yeah, don't put this on me. Yeah. So he did the right thing.
I think they were trying to put it on him. That's why they went.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. The Black Lives Matter was started by 4 women after they established Black Lives. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, it has gained national attention. That is true. So I know that the funeral is Saturday, Kenneth. I don't know if they have posted it, but I do know
I didn't know that.
Is Saturday at 2:30 in Mackey Branch. I think they're waiting to get their flyer done. Okay. So I will definitely be traveling to Alabama for this because I feel like as many of us that can go and just, especially if you have kids and you have sons, and I do. Yeah. So I can only imagine. I've never lost a child, but I can only imagine, Sharon. And I just want you to know that we love you, and we dedicate this portion of the Ella Johnson Show tonight to his memory. Because we need to say his name. Everybody put his name, hashtag Ammarin, justice for T.T. Tunstall.
Yes.
T. Tunstall. Chat justice for T. Tunstall. So what else did you want to say about this? I know we haven't done any of our polls here tonight. Mm-hmm. It's just been such a rich conversation, right?
Absolutely.
And we just haven't. How many of you guys? I really want to know this one though. How many of you guys really think that? Let's show this one. How many of you do you believe Ammarin was refusing to walk as Chief Armstrong suggested? Do you believe? This is very important. I really want every single person that's watching this. We're about to get out of here, guys, but I want every single person answer this one before we go. This is very important. Because I want to make sure to tag our representatives and senators in Alabama from this broadcast to show what people really think about this case. So please, Number 1 is yes, 2 is no, 3 is I'm waiting for more information. If you believe that he could actually walk, then the answer is yes. Do you believe he was do you believe he was refusing to walk? Yes or no? If you think that he was not able to walk, the answer is going to be no. He was not refusing to walk. He couldn't.
He couldn't walk.
And I don't understand how she can call that if she wasn't there. How do they know he could walk?
Yeah. Well, it's he say, she say type of situation. But then there's, but there's a video. And
well, let's pull up some of these comments and then we're going to get out of here, buddy. Listen, you were a brave soul to come on here with this topic with me tonight, Kenneth.
Well, I love my community. So, I'm going to come anytime you need me to come on, I'm on. Yeah.
Don't say that because I might be calling you again, brother. Sheriff is a man of integrity. He got the monkey out of his bag. Yeah, he did, didn't he? 2. Della says 2. Do you believe he was refusing to walk? I don't want you guys to write to. Isn't there something that you can do? You have to click on the poll because we need it to calculate us. We need it to. I need y'all to click on the poll so we can calculate how many people believe this. Please click on the poll. Not in the comments, because in the comments I can't calculate it that way. So please. I see that a lot of people don't think he was refusing to walk. I figured as much.
Yeah. Well,
so
anybody with eyes can see. Yeah.
So Mandy, if you're watching, let me just share with you what the viewers here tonight think. We have quite a few. They think that you were wrong when you said that he was refusing to walk. Because you said that he was talking and alert. You made it seem like he was just hunky-dory. And then the next minute he's dead. Make that make sense? And you said that he was talking and he spoke with the officers. And then you said that it's normal. Now, this is the part that got me. She said it's not uncommon for him to fake like he can't walk.
Well, that's wrong. Yeah.
Did y'all miss that?
That's nasty.
I seen you, Miss Margaret. She said, nope. Do you think he was? Nope. Most people say no, he was not. I appreciate that, guys, but I really need y'all to click on the poll. Is the poll not running? I need y'all to click on the poll so it can calculate.
I don't see it on the screen. Do you think they can see it?
You don't see it either?
I don't. No.
Oh. Do you see it now?
Mm-mm.
Okay, now let's try it again. Now do you see it?
It's still not coming up.
StreamYard, y'all trifling. Trifling. Because I can see it there. I can see it there. I'm not sure why it's not rolling.
Yeah, well, maybe somebody needs to send Chief Mandy the video, and so she understands what the public is seeing, and it doesn't match with the conversation that she's having, and then maybe she might retract the statement that she made, because clearly you're seeing one thing and she's seeing something completely different. She's probably not aware that the video exists.
But you know what? Real talk. I think that she got approval before she posted that. So maybe the city attorney is the one, because I know Monroeville has a city attorney, right?
Yeah.
So if they have a city attorney, that city attorney has approved her statement. All right, now let's resume it. Tell me if you guys can see it now.
I can't see it. Maybe the public can, because I'm on a different StreamYard.
Oh, that sucks. Can you guys see the poll? Well, I'm not going to stress it too much. If y'all can't see it, this thing is acting crazy. Maybe it's tired. You think? I'm going to pull up a few more of these comments, guys, then we're going to get out of here. It's been a great night.
Yeah.
I hope that everybody that was here for the Bethel portion, I hope you guys y'all still love me. Medical aid should have been called and CPR should have been administered before placing the police car. Totally agree. There is no poll. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. I did have a poll up there. I don't know why you can't see it. I'm going to try one more thing. Let's see here. Because sometimes maybe I have a poll running and have something running in the background. And All right, let's stop it and then let's resume it. Now let's show it again. Can you see it now?
Mm-mm.
No. Well, looks like we're going to have to just squash that for tonight then.
They could just put it in the comments and then,
Yeah, just put it in the comments because they'll be able to see that, because that's very key. Because listen, let me tell you, she was her statement and everything, when she said that he was transported to the ER, but then sheriff said something different. Am I crazy? Didn't he say that they saw him on the scene at the facility?
Yeah, that statement was strong and wrong.
And then she said he was transported to. Yeah, Mandy. Listen, we just got to watch this thing out, guys. Continue to pray for Sharon and her family, because I know what she has to do on Saturday is very difficult. She's going to have to say goodbye to her son, 35-year-old son, very handsome young man, and his children. So, his children have lost their father. So it's a very sad situation. But we can do something about this. So y'all keep calling Congress. Someone posted on my page today and said, hey, Ella, reach out and get the FOIA request, Kenneth. They said that we can get the FOIA request to find out the names of the officers and try to see what's going on with this body cam. I think the body cam footage is very, very important. Oh, it looks like the poll is working.
Oh, is it starting to come in? Yeah, well, I still don't see it on mine. But I just feel like even though, what they did, they didn't do it intentionally, but it happened, And so, and it's just like maybe his heart just couldn't handle, what they were giving him. But then just to try to sweep it under the rug and then to write a statement like that, then that's disrespectful just to the family in general. And they deserve more than that. So, but we're here as a community to stand in the gap, keep calling, keep reaching out to the family, make sure that they're not going without anything, make sure his children are cool. And then we just build from there, and just do something to honor his memory, no matter what.
Yeah. And I just want to say to everybody, listen, everything that everyone does is welcome, guys. Thank you. Anything that you do is appreciated. Keep giving, keep praying, keep posting, keep sharing. Let's keep this message going. Let's put it on TikTok, everywhere. Let's get as many people involved as possible. Let's get everybody talking about Ammarin, because this is our opportunity to do something big and meaningful. And it's not just for him, because listen, he's gone. He's at rest now. But I'm talking about the next time this may or may not have happened, may or may not could happen. So we want to make sure that we're setting a precedent for Monroeville Police Department that, listen, don't try it. Don't try it. That's all we can say. But this is Easter. Today is Easter. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Listen, I because it's Easter, we have to end this show with giving God all the praise this holiday, this season. I hope that we remember the reason for the season. For those of you that believe, that Jesus died on a cross for us. Because listen, they hung him high. They stretched him wide. He hung his head. And for me, he died. And I think that's what you guys should all leave with tonight. The reason we fight, the reason we get on here with so much passion and bring this stuff to you is because some of us feel obligated to God. And I am not going to ever be handed something and God says do something and then I don't do it because I'm concerned about what people think. We are never going to be able to be used by God if you're so concerned about what people think. This broadcast tonight was a very tough one to have. I want y'all to understand that. I think it's important because you and I talked about that, Kenneth, before we went live, how difficult this is because it's personal. This is something, these are people I know. I'm not sitting here reporting on a church I have no affiliation with. I know none of the people. It's not just a typical journalist thing. This is difficult because I do know these people. I do love them. I hated having to show the video. However, the truth has to be out there. You guys saw a certain portion of that video, but you didn't see all of it. So I wanted you to see the whole thing so we can say, okay, this is what it was. Yeah, we can't do this, guys. Come on, let's reel it back. And for those of you that feel like you were wronged, you matter too. That I am not trying to be biased on here. That's why I want to, but you guys don't bring any substance. You're saying to me, Ella, this is a lie. Okay, well, send me what you have. Send me what you have so that I can present your information and so that I can put it out here. Because if you were done wrong, you deserve a voice too. If
Absolutely.
this election that was done at Bethel was done improper and was against and was meant to harm Pastor Ewell, then you guys should be fighting for that. But fight the right way. Sitting here and talking on Facebook, that's not going to get it. Bring your results. Go to the courts. Tell them, listen, this is what happened. Go to the church and all that. That's where all your answers lie. What I'm doing is I'm giving you the roadmap on where to go next. It doesn't start with me. It doesn't end with me. This is just a place for resource and information. Now you take what you've heard from this and you go and do something with it, so that you can get the result that you need. Don't keep it here. If you know that there's some information that I don't know and we didn't talk about it tonight, then share it with me. But what I shared tonight is information that I acquired by asking the questions that you asked me. You asked me, hey, Ella, no, you didn't ask. You said to me, Ella, this election was rigged. It was all Bobby's list and it was all this. So I said, really? Well, let me go see. Because if they're making this kind of accusation against Bobby and he's out here wilding out and making up lists and sending him to the court, he's wrong for that. That can't be. Of course, that's going to be biased. Now, anybody can hear that and you already know. Come on now. You mean the court's going to take a list from Bobby? Why would the court take a list from Bobby? He's not a member, according to y'all, right? So then you have to know there's more to it. That's what I do. My job is to then go look. Let me go and dig. Let me ask some questions. Let me make some phone calls. Hey, this is what I'm hearing. What's up? No, Ella, here you go. Look at the article. This is what the court said. Okay, well, let me repeat what the court said. Okay, well, what else did the court say? The court said this is how that election was going to be done. So that's all I gave to you. So if that's incorrect and the courts are incorrect, then we have even bigger problem. So I just want to encourage everybody, please, let's take what we learned from here. What's good for you, take it. What's not, don't take it. But don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying, because I'm presenting information to you. If there's another conversation that needs to be had, I welcome it. I welcome it. If you have information you would like to send me that differs from what we showed tonight, I welcome it. Because we are not one-sided here on the El Zaza Show, right? We want everybody, right, Kenneth?
Absolutely.
Now, what do you want to say before we get out of here?
I was just like, I love you all, and it was such a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. And I'll be happy to come back anytime. So my community know I love them. See you when I get there sometimes.
All right. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to get out of here. Like I said, one love. I'm praying for Bethel. I'm praying for you, Sharon, and your family. We are all one big family, guys. And I just want you to take whatever we did here tonight in love and a sign that we need to heal. Now, to start the healing process, Kenneth, we got to give people with some words to live by before we go. What do you want people to do? I mean, real action that they need to take so we can begin the healing process. What do you think?
I mean, we're here to make sure that truth is seen, heard, and understood. And that's the goal in all of this. And just honor that young man's memory because he mattered. He mattered to a lot of people. And and I just pretty much anytime that something happens, I want to be able to jump in and however I'm feeling, I feel like I can jump on here and express it to my community members without being judged or without judging, because that wasn't the intention, was to judge somebody on either side. It's just to come and have a conversation because we want this fixed. And if we come together, we fix the church, then we could fix community, then we could fix what's going on at the police department. So this never, ever, ever happens again.
That's right. We got a lot of fixing to do.
Yeah.
But we got to start. Let's remember what Michael Jackson, I wish I had the song. He says, the man in the mirror, you're going to make a change. You got to start with the one you're looking at in that mirror, right?
Correct.
And on that note, we're going to get out of here. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Della. Thank all of you, Vicky, and all of you. It's so many of you, but I just want to thank all of you for tuning in. And listen, your comments, all of that helps us continue with our content and to see what you guys think. So I appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please, this show tonight, please share the broadcast and just send me your comments in the inbox. I need them. We continue to need your support and your prayers. You pray for me, I pray for you. Guys, we're all in this together. One love. We'll see you again. Not sure when I'm coming live again because sister is tired. I will be traveling this week, so I'm not sure if I'll be live on Thursday, but I'll be traveling to Alabama. Love you guys. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now, and we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.